Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So today we are going to talk about Trump, the GOP, and the date that was set for the documents case, and why there are so many conflicting opinions as to whether or not that was a good date. And it mainly boils down to people looking at it through different lenses. So, if you don't know, the judge in the documents case set the date for the trial to begin on May 20th, 2024. It's supposed to be 2 weeks. Okay. Now, for those who are looking at it through a purely legal lens, they're like, well, that's a really extended delay. You know, anything longer than that just would have seemed ridiculous. And I get it. And that frames it as a loss for Smith. But Smith did get the judge to commit to a trial date in May, which is before the general election. And then you have a whole bunch of other people who aren't really that upset with this election date. This is really late in the Republican primary, incredibly late in the Republican primary. The trial, it's going to end just weeks before the RNC. At this point in time, Trump is considered the front runner. The evidence that will come out in trial, if this date is stuck to, is going to come out right before the RNC. That's not ideal for him. It's also not ideal for the GOP as a whole. Trump may have gotten his way, but he damaged the Republican Party massively with this. He's going to be walking in, presumably, the front runner. He's going to be ready to run that race. Ready, set, nope, because all of that information is going to come out. It will likely alter the dynamics. How, we don't exactly know yet, but there's going to be a change. It's not going to have absolutely zero effect. That is going to damage other candidates who may end up being the nominee. Trump damaged the Republican Party in a big way here. And I don't know that it's totally apparent, but I think it will be later. There will be candidates who by that point have dropped out, who very well might have been the preferred candidate if, let's just say, the trial doesn't go the way Trump imagines. So, from a legal perspective, you have one opinion. From a political perspective, you have another. From a partisan standpoint, you have still another. And then from an analyst standpoint, you have yet another. That's why you have a bunch of differing opinions. And it all boils down to what lens they're looking at it through. The real thing here is that this is going to hurt the GOP a lot. Because they're still looking at the primary. But this being so close to the RNC, let's say Trump wins the nomination because the evidence that comes out doesn't sway the primary voters. I'm willing to bet it's going to sway the general voters. This was just all bad for the Republican Party. And it's funny because a lot of them are celebrating it as a win right now. I have a feeling they'll change their mind. Now, let's talk about the idea of this being election interference. No, let's be clear. Denying and delaying the trials, that's election interference. He was indicted by a grand jury. At this point, the American people have a right to see the outcome of that before the election. If it was postponed because of the election, it is actively interfering with the election. That's election interference, not the other way around. Now, for those who don't know or aren't aware, I have a second channel. It's called The Roads with Bo. I do not want this channel to turn into basically Trump TV and have to cover all of the developments, but there's a lot of questions coming in about them. On this channel, we will cover the major stuff that has other implications, such as the trial date influencing the election. The day-to-day stuff that people want to know about, that's going to be on the other channel, because there's a whole lot more news in the world than Trump, and I want to keep this channel about things other than Trump. So The Roads with Bo is the name of it. We already have a recap up over there, and then there's a whole bunch of other content. For those who are aware of the second channel but haven't signed up for it because I normally shared it, we stopped doing that a while back. You've already missed some content. So maybe go check that one out. At the end of this trial date that the Republican Party is celebrating right now, it's not going to, I don't think it's actually going to be what they want once they get it. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.